The following program is being brought to you on the Voice America Business Channel. For more information about our network and to check our additional show hosts and topics of interest, please visit voiceamericabusiness.com. The Voice America Talk Radio Network is the worldwide leader in live Internet talk radio. Visit voiceamerica.com. The views and ideas expressed on the following program are strictly those of the host or guests and do not necessarily reflect the views and ideas held by the Voice America Talk Radio Network, its staff, and management.
Welcome to GlobeTalk with Avasant. Avasant is a next-generation global consulting firm that has its finger on the pulse of the global economy. Join us for an exciting look at the world economy. Now, here is your host, Kevin Parikh.
Welcome to GlobeTalk with Avasant. My name is Kevin Parikh, your host for the program. I'd like to introduce our first guest, Ms. Amal Hassan, CEO and Managing Director of CapeSource Technologies Limited. CapeSource is an innovative technology services company based in Nigeria. Today we're going to learn a little bit about CapeSource and get an understanding of how the technology services industry is developing in this very important African nation, Nigeria. Amal, welcome to the inaugural broadcast of GlobeTalk with Avasant. We're very excited and pleased to have you as our guest. As I understand it, you, along with others on the CapeSource team, have been instrumental in setting up an IT industry in Nigeria, and even invested in a training institution in Kano, Nigeria's second largest city. Can you give us, the audience and myself, more of a background on what you've been doing with respect to Nigeria's emerging IT industry?
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me. I am an entrepreneur with a vision to contribute positively to the IT industry of Nigeria. This is the instrument that led to the setup of the first organized IT training institution in Kano, northern Nigeria, in 2003. I then went on to run the state-of-the-art training institute and NIT franchisee in Kano. Under my leadership, Nestra's Institute of IT has grown into a reference institution for quality IT skills acquisition, training, and system analysis throughout northern Nigeria. We then recapitalized NIT Kano in 2005 and initiated a move towards expansion and business development. My quest for value addition through business enterprise and contributing towards the development of northern Nigeria led to the creation of a business process outsourcing outfit called CapeSource Technologies. CapeSource Technologies is a 100% privately held Nigerian company offering business process outsourcing / information technology enabled services from its state-of-the-art 356 International Call Center facility in Kaduna, Nigeria. Our world-class facility offers end-to-end voice and non-voice BPO services globally. We are one of the few companies managing complex transaction processing and offering end-to-end solutions. We combine our BPO expertise with research and analytics, risk advisory, and process consulting services to deliver a broad suite of offerings to our customers. As for my background, I have a BSc in Business Administration and a master's degree in business administration from Bayero University, Kano, Nigeria.
Amal, this is very exciting. I will tell you, most of our guests may have never imagined that this type of business was being established and also gaining successful momentum in Nigeria. In fact, many of our audience may be unfamiliar with business process outsourcing as well. BPO is really the outsourcing of specific business processes to an expert third party, in this case like CapeSource. In many cases, this can also be in the form of a call center or business process center, for example, insurance claim centers. So most of our audience has experienced working with a business process expert, whether they realize it or not, when they speak to a telemarketer as well, or even to a specialist in accounting or claims. But Amal, what inspired you to take this type of endeavor to Nigeria, this BPO ITS facility, particularly to Kaduna.
This is very okay. This is very interesting, Kevin. Nigeria's offshoring potential is enormous. Nigeria has a very good English-speaking and educated workforce. The +1 GMT time zone is much favorable to the Western world. Nigeria has a very large domestic market, and there is a great potential for contact center BPO business. This is one of the things this is the most important things that inspired me to set up this call center BPO.
I think it makes a lot of sense if you're in the same time zone of your customers. What are some of the other various parameters you looked at into selecting Kaduna as a site for your call center?
CapeSource is currently registered in Kano with primary delivery centers for BPO call center services in Kaduna and sales office in Lagos, Nigeria, and Abuja. Abuja is the capital of Nigeria. In comparison to Abuja and Lagos, Kaduna is a fast emerging city, providing low cost of employment and infrastructure. The advantages of Kaduna as a location are availability of well-qualified, adequate and low-cost manpower, well-developed social infrastructure to support residing populations, good fiber optic connectivity inland and on the international circuit, low cost of real estate and allied services such as transportation and other utilities. Overall reason is lower cost of doing business compared to Lagos and Abuja, Nigeria.
I think that.
However, shipments, exactly. I think that's all.
So, I think that's very interesting because obviously maintaining lower cost is critical and being able to deliver these types of services. So I understand that's why you have sort of spawned in that location. Our global business audience is hearing about CapeSource for many of them the first time. What type of customers does your company provide services to? Nigerian companies, other African companies, American companies, European, Asian, etc. It would be good for us to understand who your target is.
CapeSource is focusing on the Nigerian banking, telecom, and airline industries. There is an urgent need of providing better customer service in these sectors. CapeSource, as a local Nigerian company, understands those needs and will offer those industries tailor-made end-to-end solutions through its contact center in Kaduna. CapeSource Technologies have aggressive plans to expansion and will not like to limit its service deliveries only to Nigeria. So we plan to have, CapeSource plans to have its world-class delivery centers to Africa, Middle East, India, Asia, Asian countries as well. We are also looking at towards building a partnership business model with a couple of BPO/ITS players in India.
Interesting. So, and of course, India has been known as the probably leader in this space for the last decade. So, I think that makes a lot of sense. How does CapeSource plan to offer its services to Nigeria's banking, telecom, and travel industry in Nigeria? Do you already have relationships with these companies and these organizations? These are obviously very heavily regulated, and because they're such regulated industries, there might be some resistance to outsourcing. Can you give us some of your thoughts on that issue?
Yeah, exactly. Outsourcing in Nigeria is still at a nascent stage. The call center industry is prevalent in a discrete manner. Absence of a unified body, for example, NASCOM, has resulted in a disorganized growth of the industry. Companies are also yet to realize the potential advantage of outsourcing and still choose to develop their own in-house call centers. The service industry like telecom, banking, and travel are going through a significant change and are given more and more importance towards customer satisfaction. Government bodies like CBN have openly directed all the banks to introduce shared services to reduce costs and increase customer satisfaction. So the pressure of a competitive marketplace is forcing all telecom, travel, and banking companies to control and reduce operational costs. CapeSource Technologies provides the global best practices to meeting customer requirements for service quality and growth. This helps improve average revenue per user, expand the customer base, upgrade the existing customer service model, adapt and move to new technology standards like UMTS and 3G. So we've actually gone far in doing that. So we're not yet there, but we will be there, Captain. We will be there.
Well, thank you. I'm a little bit going to touch on a sensitive issue here. And, as you know, many Western companies and also governments have been a little bit concerned about some of the risks of doing business in Nigeria with respect to corruption and potentially other business issues that have propped up. How does CapeSource Technologies attempt to mitigate or eliminate these risks or concerns and demonstrate itself as being a world-class, upstanding Nigerian BPO ITS company?
We at CapeSource understand those perceptions that the Western, the perception that the Western may have about Nigeria and Africa in general. We put great emphasis on our technical capabilities, delivery models, and our ability to meet high global industry standards associated with the BPO/ITS industry. And we have insight on how to mitigate the risk. We take complete ownership of the deal once signed from cradle to grave. We have strategies and policies in place to retain employees and avoid the problem of attrition rates due to high demand. CapeSource understands the currency fluctuations, such as the dollar to naira rate, as a risk. The currency fluctuation factor can have a very strong effect on providers' costs and margins, which it transfers the currency risk contractually to their providers and still is globally competitive. On the data and network security aspect, CapeSource follows an ISO 27001 security policy and has a fallback to mitigate any breach in the security model. It follows a very tight security planning and policy execution. CapeSource has state-of-the-art data and network security resources deployed on its local area networks and wireless area networks. The CapeSource data center is equipped with the latest firewall system and provides separate virtual local area networks for each customer to ensure data security. We also give equal importance to physical and personal security. CapeSource ensures 24/7 security at its site. We have a single entry exit point, which is monitored by trained security professionals and CCTV cameras. All visitors are registered at the front gate and issued an entry pass. Also, vehicles in and out of the site have to go through a visual security check. CapeSource ensures and provides personal security to all its employees and guests on its premises. All employees are encouraged to participate in information security awareness training. This is very interesting, huh, Kevin?
Yes, no, it's very interesting. And in fact, the fact that you've been able to take on these global standards, I think, particularly the ISO 27001, is really amazing. I think that in itself is a demonstration of your commitment to doing things the right way. I think we've got one more question here before we're going to go to a 2-minute break for our sponsors. So let's see if we can squeeze that one in. What are the strategies rolled out by CapeSource Technologies to offer cost reduction, greater customer satisfaction, and, of course, as we've been discussing, impeccable data standards? I think this is key for our international clients and creating trust and loyalty to CapeSource's relationships and client companies. What are some of the strategies that you've employed?
Exactly. Exactly. CapeSource has strategic plans to offer cost reduction through innovative methods. CapeSource offers tailor-made solutions with end-to-end solutions. We believe and understand the importance of security, trust, and loyalty towards our clients in the outsourcing business, and we have also incorporated these values in all our business processes.
Excellent. Well, I thank you, Amal. This is very interesting. At this point, I think we're going to take a short break for our sponsors. Thank you, Amal. We'll be right back.
Stocks, bonds, investment opportunities, financial news, and talk. We can help. Call us now toll-free, 866-472-5790, 866-472-5790. Voice America Business Network.
Avasant, your management consulting firm for the next generation, providing sourcing advisory, globalization, and go-to-market strategies. In an unpredictable world, Avasant is your trusted global advisor. Learn more about us. Go to www.avasant.com. That's Avasant.com. CapeSource, providing global sourcing solutions for IT and business process services. We offer call center sales and support services at the highest industry standards. CapeSource, world-class IT services straight from the heart of Africa. Learn more about us on the web at www.capesource.org.
Do you need directions to solid financial future? If so, the Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman will provide you with a roadmap to making smart money decisions in every area of your personal finances. Join Jordan every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern for the Money Answer Show on the Voice America Business Channel. Learn how and where to get the best deals on mortgages, cars, and insurance. Find out the best ways to save for college and retirement, get out of debt, improve your credit rating, and save on your taxes. The Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman will provide you with great tips on investment opportunities in real estate, stocks, annuities, and other investment vehicles. That's the Money Answer Show with Jordan Goodman on the Voice America Business Channel every Monday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
From the boardroom to you, Voice America Business Network.
Listening to GlobeTalk with Avasant. We're here to answer your questions about the global economy. Please send an email to globetalk@avasant.com. That's globetalk@avasant, AVASANT.com. Now, back to our program. Here's Kevin Parikh.
Welcome back. I still have Amal with me today, Amal Hassan, the CEO and Managing Director of CapeSource Technologies. We're going to continue our interview. Very exciting to hear about all the new things that are happening in Nigeria and what this company is being able to accomplish in this in this country. So, Amal, if you're ready, let's get started. What are the latest technologies employed by CapeSource to place it on par with global contact centers in BPO and ITS across the world?
Thank you, Kevin. This is very exciting. CapeSource Technologies has a world-class data center with the best in the market information technology hardware and software deployed in its center. The latest voice switch from Avaya, data switches from Cisco, top-of-the-line IVR and voice and data recorders. This can be compared to any of the facilities in the U.S., India, and Philippines contact centers. So it is rather interesting because a lot of people do not know that all this exists in Nigeria.
Well, and it strikes me that you're probably, if not one of the first company to be able to bring this type of capability to the country. So just that kind of makes me wonder, what is the future of this industry in Nigeria? And do you expect that maybe the government will help as well, providing some type of benefits to companies like CapeSource?
Exactly. The future of domestic BPO ITS industry in Nigeria looks very promising, Kevin. There's a dire need to have third-party contact centers like CapeSource Technologies, who can offer a wide range of data and call center services, including both inbound and outbound calls to clients. The Nigerian government is doing its best to promote the outsourcing industry. The government has offered CapeSource Technologies to be registered as an upcoming people incentive industry and will get a pioneer status. This is unbelievable, right? The World Bank and other organizations have offered financial help and extension of free trade zone incentives like, for example, there is the Abuja Technology Village and the ICT Park in Kano. The government has other incentives like training grants for companies offering professional training to its youth. So the government is doing a lot towards the industry.
And you had mentioned also that there was new data lines that were being brought in. I'm curious, what are some of the challenges of setting up a world-class center in Nigeria, and how are you dealing with those challenges? Obviously, we have what sounds like good government support and improvement in infrastructure, but what are some of the challenges that you're facing that are on your immediate plate to handle and solve?
Well, some of the challenges of setting up a world-class BPO ITS center in Nigeria are to deal with poor infrastructure, intermittent electricity power supply, telecom and fiber optics connectivity to data centers, and sometimes delays in getting work permits and other government approvals. CapeSource Technologies is presently talking to the local Kaduna State government to provide us with uninterrupted power supply for at least 21 hours a day. CapeSource management had a series of discussions with the local major telecom providers and have been assured of a robust fiber optics and internet connectivity to the center. But nevertheless, CapeSource has made provision for in-house transportation facilities, generators, and UPS systems for uninterrupted power supply. So CapeSource has used 2 different vendors to supply its fiber optics cables, ensuring redundancy. So we are expecting something from the government, but we also are equipped with our own infrastructure.
Interesting. I'm curious, how is CapeSource Technology going to compete on a global basis? I mean, this is a mature industry with India and Philippines, particularly regions that have been doing this for a long time. What are some of your advantages over those hardened businesses?
CapeSource Technologies has a strong sales strategy, which aims to have more client interaction to obtain feedback and provide right solutions to the client. We also will focus on building the domestic market, which will showcase our own potential to the international market. We also intend on opening of sales offices, a recruitment of sales teams in Nigeria and the whole of West Africa, also in Europe, UK, and USA. We would offer the same quality services offered in India and Philippines at the same price. The other advantage Nigeria has is its near-shore proximity to the US and UK market. So looking at all this, you'll find out that we can actually compete globally with these companies.
Well, and I think it's very interesting, Amal, that with your time zone that you share with Europe, your GMT time zone, I do think that is a real advantage, particularly with your language fluency. This seems like an obvious opportunity in Europe, even probably a stronger opportunity than the UK. On that note, what are some of the strengths and weaknesses of CapeSource that you think are playing in this market?
CapeSource has a world-class BPO/ITS facility in Kaduna, Nigeria, currently offering a wide range of data and call center services, including both inbound and outbound calls to clients. Our strengths are that it has a ready-to-operate built capability to deliver to international clients. It can provide a comprehensive pack of services, including IT support and consultancy services. Its present weakness is that it's not known on the global outsourcing market.
Yeah, and I think that is obviously one of the things that you're going to have to overcome. And we've talked a lot now about differentiators of CapeSource and versus India and other countries. Moving forward, however, how does CapeSource technology fit into the World Bank's initiative of promoting outsourcing in the in the outsourcing industry and in larger context Nigeria? You mentioned the
World Bank. Okay. World Bank Nigeria has taken a various initiatives for promoting outsourcing industry in Nigeria. CapeSource Technologies is closely working with the World Bank towards a common goal, that is to provide jobs to the Nigerian youth and help eliminate poverty through generation of jobs and being a driving force for other allied businesses associated with the call center industry. So CapeSource is really working, has started the initiative of working together with World Bank.
So you're working with the World Bank, you're working with the Kaduna government and the local government, you're working with the larger national government in Nigeria, and you're really the first. What other types of organizations have you been working with? Do you work with IAOP or other standards organizations?
Yes, there's actually a need for the Nigerian government and other bodies to promote Nigeria as an outsourcing destination. So CapeSource is doing its best to promote Nigeria as an outsourcing destination by attending the IAOP and other international conferences to showcase our capabilities. So yes, we are working with other international bodies to promote these capabilities.
So we have one last question, which I've been burning to ask. Where do you see CapeSource Technologies in the next couple of years in the global outsourcing market industry? You're going to be number one?
We're hoping to be, yes. CapeSource Technologies aim to be the number one of the most preferred outsourcing destination nearshore to the UK and US. CapeSource Technologies has a basket of services like customer acquisition, operations support, revenue enhancement, and customer retention in both voice and non-voice delivery models for the domestic and international market. I would like to see CapeSource as a preferred global outsourcing organization, which is known worldwide for its integrity and quality services. We hope and expect to employ over 1,000 employees in the next 5 years, expand sales to the UK and US, also to the and to inspire. We aspire to establish centers in nearshore markets such as Ghana and the whole of West Africa.
Amal, that is fantastic. Thank you so much for being a guest on GlobeTalk with Avasant. Welcome again to Ms. Amal Hassan, CEO and Managing Director of CapeSource Technologies Limited. This is an exciting new venture, and we're excited to bring it to you for the first time here on GlobeTalk with Avasant. Coming up next, Pumela Salela, an executive at the World Bank leading many of the Africa initiatives of the World Bank, will be interviewed right here on GlobeTalk with Avasant. We look forward to seeing you after the break.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network. Are you ready to grow your business? Listen for the Independent Business Owner Show with your coach, Rick Corrado. This entertaining talk radio program will bring you the tools to help increase your business. You'll learn sales success, time management, lead generation, business development, life balance, and much more. Rick Corrado is here to help you take your business to the next level. Listen for the Independent Business Owner Show, heard live every Monday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Pacific on the Voice America Business Network.
Avasant, your management consulting firm for the next generation, providing sourcing advisory, globalization, and go-to-market strategies. In an unpredictable world, Avasant is your trusted global advisor. Learn more about us. Go to www.avasant.com. That's AVASANT.com. CapeSource, providing global sourcing solutions for IT and business process services. We offer call center sales and support services at the highest industry standards. CapeSource, world-class IT services straight from the heart of Africa. Learn more about us on the web at www.capesource.org.
Tune in to It's Your Money with host Bill Pfeifferlich. You'll get an eye-opening education about some of the misconceptions of the financial world. If you are a business owner, working professional, or successful American, you will benefit from the information on our program. Our guests will include financial service professionals, international tax and estate attorneys, and CPAs. We'll identify solutions that you can implement now to get the most of your money. Tune in Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time for It's Your Money on Voice America Business.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
Listening to GlobeTalk with Avasant. We're here to answer your questions about the global economy. Please send an email to globetalk@avasant.com. That's globetalk@avasant, AVASANT.com. Now, back to our program. Here's Kevin Parikh.
Welcome back. We're focusing today on perspectives from Africa. We just met with Amal Hassan, the CEO for CapeSource Technologies, the very first BPO company in Nigeria. I would like to now welcome our next guest, Ms. Pumela Salela. Pumela is a consultant with the World Bank and is based at their headquarters in Washington, D.C. Her focus in technology and business process outsourcing is exemplary, and she is very well known in the field. Prior to joining the World Bank, she was the director of BPO and IT-enabled services for the government of South Africa. Welcome, Pumela.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Well, Pumela, let's get started. I do appreciate you coming to the program today. And with all the things that are happening in Africa, can you describe to us what the World Bank's role has been in this emerging region?
Thank you very much, Kevin. I'll start with a disclaimer to say that the views that I'm expressing are my individual, based on the research that I've done and the observations that I have made, and not that of the employer. So to answer your question, two things. One is capacity building through the World Bank Institute, and the second one is private sector development. When we talk about capacity building, it's when the World Bank goes to different countries through its training facilities and trains policymakers, decision makers, analysts, civil society, and private sector on how to develop different sectors of the economy. And then when we talk about private sector development, it's about developing the industry bodies, the investment promotion, and making sure that there is foreign direct investment that goes into the countries. So the World Bank is involved on those two broad levels. In terms of the business process outsourcing and ICT-enabled services projects, especially for Africa, what we've seen in the recent years is that there's been a project in Ghana which has been called the e-Ghana project, and there's also been a project in, for example, Rwanda, which has been the e-Rwanda project. And the inherent theme amongst the projects is that they seek to develop the human skills in the ICT-enabled services sector. The projects seek to support infrastructure development that's creating an enabling environment. As you know, that this sector cannot thrive if there's no enabling environment and infrastructure being part of that.
So when you're talking about an enabling environment and capacity building and growth in the private sector, what you're really talking about here is actually building and creating the building blocks necessary for business to thrive.
Yes, certainly. It's about ensuring that countries have enough of a solid foundation for them to be able to attract domestic and foreign investment. It's about strengthening the implementing agencies, because the World Bank does not implement the work directly. There have to be agencies on the ground that implement the work.
And these would be government agencies that would be receiving funding from the World Bank in order to implement these programs.
It could be government agencies and also a combination of private sector and government.
I see.
Depending on how the country wants to structure its implementing agency. However, in terms of the entry point for the World Bank, it's normally the government itself.
So in the case of Africa as a region, and of course we understand that there are many governments, many countries operating. You'd mentioned Ghana and Rwanda. But in the case of Africa, what are some of the unique challenges that region is facing that the World Bank is particularly focusing on in order to encourage the growth of business in the continent?
I would say the first one is infrastructure, especially in terms of infrastructure that enables the BPO ITS sector, which can be submarine cables, undersea cables, telecommunications. But that is so that is changing now through the interventions that have been made, as we know that there are now going to be some undersea cables that will be completed by 2011, which are cutting across the east and the west side of Africa. So infrastructure challenges like energy, and also the making sure that there is an availability of readily trained employees, and regulation, issues like education, because there has to be education linkages between school leavers and employees that go to the place of employment.
Right. So if I was a company that wanted to, for example, invest in Africa and maybe create an operation there, I would be interested, obviously, in what's the hiring pool. Are there qualified candidates that I can draw from, maybe universities? Can I get power to my facilities on a regular basis? Are there roads and housing that I have access to? And so your projects are all designed to cover these various different aspects, correct?
Yes, they do. They develop human skills in the ITS sector. They also, develop the small and medium micro enterprises, and also ensure that,
What's a micro enterprise?
It's enterprises that have got employees that are small, a small number of employees.
So this is an incubation, maybe, an incubation of these small companies.
Again, it depends on how a country wants to approach it. One country would say they want to do an incubation. Another country would want to say that they want to support the small businesses directly. So the World Bank does not dictate how countries should do it. However, if a proposal is sound and makes sense that it will be sustainable, then it supports it.
Very interesting, very interesting. I think, we're seeing a lot of criticism in the United States, particularly for work that's moving outside of the country. And it seems like part of the mission here is to create a better environment so that business can thrive outside of the United States. With many of our listeners here U.S.-based, how do you respond to those concerns?
I would say, if first of all, I think any business, any company or organization that's in business would be interested in the bottom line and wanting to ensure that the bottom line is black, if I may put it that way, that the company is making profit. And so, outsourcing and has been seen as a way of being able to cut costs or for companies so that they can save and be able to generate profits. But more than that, I think another way of looking at outsourcing is that it frees companies to focus on their core capabilities and then give the experts in the fields that are non-core to their functioning to other organizations.
So on that note, if I may, what type of services do you think would be ideal for the Africa region in this sort of first phase of delivering services on a global basis? What type of BPO, business process outsourcing, or IT services do you believe Africa as a region is probably more likely to start with?
I think, first of all, in some of the most powerful countries in Africa have shown strong growth in the areas of telecommunications, in the areas of banking, in the areas of retail. And what we find is that in these countries, services account for about 70% of the GDP. However, it's also worth noting that the African countries are in different levels of development. So those that are developed can do anything from customer contact services to knowledge services, knowledge process outsourcing or knowledge process services. And then those that are still, trying to develop the sector are also able to do, customer services and some of the back office work. So I think the opportunity, is ripe for Africa, as Africa has got a large population with about 1 billion people, and we know that this sector really needs a strong workforce in terms of numbers, as most of the investment has to go to the human resources.
Well, I think that's a great point, and the point that you make about South Africa, for example, maybe being a very technologically and infrastructure advanced country versus maybe other countries that have less advancement, means that they can deliver different levels of service, and I think that makes a lot of sense, and they've got a different application pool. I think what I find very interesting in all of this, and even Avasant as a company has made the comment on many occasions, that Africa really is the next 1 billion, following India and China.
Certainly, I would agree with you on that.
I think right before we go to our next commercial break, I wanted to make a comment about the next half of the program, where we're going to focus, Pumela, on India and China, and how India and China are actually addressing the growth of these new sectors, including sectors in Africa.
Okay.
So with that, I'm going to move off to our sponsors. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you.
From the boardroom to you, Voice America Business Network.
Go inside the world of PR with PR Insider, hosted by public relations expert Maureen Kettis. Maureen will speak to the world's highest profile PR pros from the fields of marketing, advertising, and sales. And PR Insider will feature renowned members of the media as special guests. Maureen will give you a VIP access pass, including tips and tricks to take your business to the next level. PR Insider with Maureen Kettis, sponsored by Cision, us.cision.com. Listen every Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Business Network.
CapeSource, providing global sourcing solutions for IT and business process services. We offer call center sales and support services at the highest industry standards. CapeSource, world-class IT services straight from the heart of Africa. Learn more about us on the web at www.capesource.org.
Are you looking for innovative ideas on how to achieve your financial dreams? Tune in to Empirical Investing Radio every Thursday afternoon at 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern on the Voice America Business Channel. Join certified financial planners Ken Smith and Ethan Broga to learn how you can obtain financial success. You'll be entertained while you discover techniques to alleviate your financial concerns. Empirical Investing Radio every Thursday at 2 Pacific, 5 Eastern on the Voice America Business Channel.
Avasant, your management consulting firm for the next generation, providing sourcing advisory, globalization, and go-to-market strategies. In an unpredictable world, Avasant is your trusted global advisor. Learn more about us. Go to www.avasant.com. That's AVASANT.com.
Voice America Business Network, the bottom line in business.
You are listening to GlobeTalk with Avasant. We're here to answer your questions about the global economy. Please send an email to globetalk@avasant.com. That's globetalk@avasant, AVASANT.com. Now, back to our program. Here's Kevin Parikh.
Welcome back. I'm here with Ms. Pamela Salela from the World Bank, and we're having a very exciting conversation about what the World Bank is doing in emerging regions like Africa, and also globalization and business process outsourcing in this region. One of the things that I wanted to ask our guest about, and I'd mentioned it before our last break, is India and China have grown to become emerging and emerged now, for lack of a better phrase, regions in this space. And in fact, many have said that much of India's recent growth and financial success as a region has actually come from the business process and IT outsourcing industry. How do you see Africa comparing to these more established regions? And what is the World Bank's plan for supporting India, China, and Africa as an emerging region?
It is always in the World Bank's interest to support emerging markets, as this promotes trade between the the different countries. And when we talk about trade, one of the modes of trade, if we're thinking of World Trade Organization, is Mode 1, and Mode 1 is about the supply of services across borders. And so the IT-enabled services provides that opportunity for the supply of trade across borders. And I believe that African countries can equally compete with other emerging markets, and they are as productive as other countries. And there is an opportunity for synergy between these countries. If we're looking at the China-India phenomenon, which is India and China, how it has developed is that India has been seen as being the center of software development and voice in terms of customer service, and most of what has been also outsourced to China has been things that are related, the manufacturing of the technology. And if you then look at Africa and the strengths that it provides, it could actually, be both, but mainly from the point of view of, voice, as Africa has got, language affinity and sometimes cultural affinity with English-speaking countries, with Portuguese, with French, which are some of the European languages. So there's an opportunity for there, and also I see an opportunity for in cases where either India or China are looking for minimizing their risk and going for geopolitical diversity, so that they don't put all their eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Well, Pamela, I'd like to zero in on those 2 points because I think they're excellent. The first point, of course, is that through colonialism, Africa has a legacy of not only European law in many cases, but also European language, including English. And I think that is first and foremost. But there was something that you didn't mention, which is much of Africa is also in the European GMT time zone, which I would imagine would be good for support of call centers and voice support centers. Is that correct?
It's correct. So Africa can be seen as a near-shore destination for Europe and also an offshore destination for the U.S. If we talk about the follow the sun approach, so U.S. companies that are looking into making sure that they're able to better service their customers throughout the day and night. Could look at Africa as a location for them to put some of their services.
Now, I've noticed that sometimes we talk about Africa in terms of nation states or countries within Africa, but really what we're talking about here is the private sector, right? Because ultimately it will be the private sector that hires the people and then maybe uses Africa and African nations as a launching point for delivering service. And the reason that I say that is because even in the case of India and China, when we talk about diversifying risk, which was another great point that you made, we're really talking about companies that are operating exclusively in those regions, diversifying their risk, not nations necessarily, but really the private sector.
Yes, because the private sector at the end of the day is the one that drives, investment promotion. It's the one that drives, foreign direct investment. What governments do, or financing institutions do, or developmental financing institutions do, is to, provide that base, that enabling environment. But it's ultimately for the private sector in their management of their business and to make sure that some of these elements are included in their strategies.
So how does a government go about getting funded or getting supported by the World Bank today if they are interested in creating public-private partnerships to grow their local market?
In the World Bank has operations in different countries, and each country has to have what is called a country assistance strategy. And each country assistance strategy that the bank provides has to meet the country's developmental goals and strategic roadmaps. So the government strategies must be the focus, and then the country assistance strategies must assist the government to be able to meet its objectives. So that is the procedure.
Okay, so that comes about in some type of application process.
Yes.
And who would they contact? Would they is this on some website, or how is this managed?
Each country has a World Bank office, so it would be about contacting the country offices.
Interesting. So what in total has the World Bank made available in terms of investment dollars or pounds, or the currency of choice, for the Africa as a region in the BPO and ITS sector?
I think, Kevin, because most of the projects are still in the implementation stage, figures at this point would be, difficult to pin down, because most of the projects are still, being implemented. Some of these projects will be completed in 2013. So, but the commitments are there.
I see. And so when you say 2013, these are probably the initial projects, it sounds like.
Yes, because the average duration period of a project is 5 years.
I see. And these initial projects in Africa, you would characterize them as really what, just sort of setting the groundwork?
They are about setting the groundwork. They are about the issues that I've highlighted earlier, which is about, building the human skills infrastructure, promoting the usage and uptake of information technology by the respective governments, attraction of domestic and foreign investment, and strengthening the implementation agencies. So, as I said, it's about, there is no uniform approach. It's about what each country feels they need for them to be able to grow the sector, and each country's needs differ.
Right. Well, Pumela, thank you. This has been a very, very interesting and an exciting session today as we talk about perspectives from Africa. Obviously, if you're interested in contacting the World Bank for more information, you can find them on the web. Pamela, thank you again. And thank you for joining us on GlobeTalk with Avasant. I'm your host, Kevin Parikh.
Thank you
signing
very
off
much.
until our next program every Friday, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern on Voice America's Business Channel.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed Globe Talk with Avasant for this week. We'll be here again next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, noon Pacific, on the Voice America Business Channel. Please join your host, Kevin Parikh, and have a nice weekend.
CapeSource, providing global sourcing solutions for IT and business process services. We offer call center sales and support services at the highest industry standards. CapeSource, world-class IT services straight from the heart of Africa. Learn more about us on the web at www.capesource.org.